ENAV29 Opening plenary. So please, first time I have to say that please mute your microphone and also turn off your camera unless you allow to speak. And welcome to the this 12-9 session of Ayala ENAV committee. And I'm very happy to all of you here. But unfortunately, still the situation does not allow us to come to hold in-person meeting. But I understand that already some of European countries lifted all regulation regarding COVID. So I really hope next time we will see again in the autumn session in person in our headquarters. Of course, I know that it's a great news for all of us if we have a meeting in Paris. But also I understand that there's some such situation also happened in Europe. But I know Ayala is not a political organization. Of course, I would like to express our sympathy for the casualty of those unhappy events. And I really wish to solve this event as soon as peacefully. So this 29 session of ENAV, we have 87 participants listed, and now we have 75 and more coming. So first of what I have to ask you is agenda item. You already have a ENAV input paper, and we need an introduction from the Secretary General, but unfortunately, Secretary General, Mr. Francis Zakaria, is not here. So instead, I would like to invite Deputy Secretary General and the former our chairman, Mr. Omar Eriksson, to give us opening remarks. Omar, please.
Thank you very much, Hideki, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, all. It is great to see you all. On behalf of the Ayala Secretariat, I would like to welcome you to ENAV29, which is hopefully the last virtual meetings of the COVID pandemic. More and more countries have lifted or are in the process of lifting the restrictions, and it seems like the virus is getting weaker and will allow us to live a more normal life again, or the new normal life. The Secretariat have started normal work routine at the headquarters, and travels are starting to fill up the agendas again.
Omar, if you can turn on camera, please.
I'm sorry, my camera is turned on, but there's something wrong with the system. It doesn't seem to be working very well.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
I can see Omar very well here.
Okay, I saw myself. I turned my off and now I turned on again. Okay, I'll just carry on. Yeah, so we have started traveling, and agenda seems to be quite busy. So hopefully we will all be together at the next round of committee meetings in the Northern Hemisphere fall. But of course, with the possibility to participate online as needed, if travel is not an option. But we at the Secretariat do recommend meeting face-to-face as soon as possible. I see that you have a very busy schedule for this meeting, with a lot of interesting input documents and a lot of work to finish from previous meetings. As you probably know, Ayala hosted a very successful signing ceremony for the new Ayala IGO convention on the 26th of January, I think it was. Never has Saint-Germain-en-Laye seen so many big black Mercedes with ambassadors from all over the world. It was a fantastic day and with great results. We have now 51 states that have signed the new convention. Once 30 states have ratified, accepted or acceded to the convention, Ayala will transform into an IGO. That could happen within the next few years, so we need to be prepared. The Secretariat is working on all the new structures and administrative issues that need to be in place for the new organization. We thought that things should be normal now or soon after the COVID pandemic, but an even more serious situation is actually now a reality. We have war in Europe, and at this difficult time, our thoughts are with our friends and their families and the people of Ukraine. At times like this, it reminds us that we are privileged to work for an organization that seeks to bring people together in a spirit of cooperation and compromise and non-political manner. And we understand that mutual respect is very, very important. The international institutions and global cooperation have again proven to be very important. So with that, I wish you good luck with the meeting and thank you all for the work that you put into this. Without each and every one of you, it would be very difficult to make progress. So you are truly the core of Ayala. And you do that in the spirit of the Ayala family. So thank you all for that. Over to you again, Hideki-san.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you very much for very kind and nice words. Thank you very much. Then I would like to move to the next agenda item. Is approval of agenda. I know that you already have received input paper from the Ayala doc page. There's agenda items. Jaime, could you show the agenda items for this ENAV meeting?
Yes, of course. And if you don't mind, I will start by ringing the bell.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot to finish this matter. I'm very sorry. Please start the bell. Please ring the bell.
Okay, and I will also read the two classical statements as well, so, and then we can move to the agenda if you prefer.
Okay, please, Jaime.
Okay, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, the Ayala General Data Protection Policy states that Ayala complies with the General Data Protection Regulation of the EU. Ayala will include a list of participants with their contact information on the website and in the report of this meeting. Any participants who wishes to remove their contact details from the participants list should advise the committee secretary as soon as possible. And the second statement say that if participants have knowledge of any patents, including pending patent application, either their own or of other organization of individuals, the use of which may be required to practice or implement the content of Ayala documents being developed or worked on in the meetings. Please advise the Ayala Secretariat as soon as possible. So the agenda for this meeting
Yeah, thank you, Jaime. Now we see the agenda items. It's a quite ordinary agenda items, not changed anything. But if you have any comment regarding this agenda items, if nothing, okay, thank you. Agenda is approved now. Then next 1.3, apologies and the introductions. Yeah, we know that Ayala now, ENAV29, we have 87 registered members. And at least I haven't received any apology from the members. But Jaime, do you have received any apology from the members?
Neither from my side.
Okay, so no apologies. And yeah, if we have an in-person meeting, maybe we need some kind of the introduction, especially from new members of 87 registered. I know that 2 new members, but I know that it's a little bit difficult in this online meeting. Okay, then next moving to the agenda item 1.4, working arrangement. Jaime, please introduce the working arrangement.
Yes. Okay. The working arrangement from last committee has not changed too much. We have again the committee dashboard. As you will see in the committee dashboard, you have a section which includes all the committees and the working arrangements from all the committees, which are in this part: the calendar, the presentation, resources, file share, and a little bit of information about the committees, overall the term of reference of each committee. And you have the dedicated area for ENAV. I will go first to the committee, the information across the 4 committees, which start with the calendar. As you well know, the calendar provides the overview of all the meetings across the 4 committees. We are now just at the point to finish the ENG committee and starting the ARM and with this ENAV. So you will see plenty of meetings during the coming weeks. You can directly choose one of the meetings for ENAV, for instance, this one, the coordination meeting, and then you will have access through the venue to the meeting. So when you select a meeting you want to join, just click in the venue and then click in the enter meeting room, and you will join directly the meeting. Then we have as well the presentation section. As you well know, we have we have arranged some slot for presentation. First one will be in the coming minutes, starting more or less at 11 UTC with a DDS update and the startup of a project of digitalization in the North Sea. And then we have another slot for presentation next Wednesday, 16 at 20, 5G precise positioning for ports. It's a presentation coming from Qualcomm, so of great interest, not only for ENG, for ENAV, but also for ENG and the other committees as well, if they would like. Then we have the resources for the 4 committees, document templates. If you wish to produce a new document here, please download the templates here. The committee work program 1823. You can also download the work program here, and the presentation of the 4 committees, which will be amalgamated in this section. As you well know, we work in the file share with the working papers. You have also here a link to the file share system. And as I mentioned, the committee information about the committees and the terms of reference. So now coming back to the specific section for ENAV, you will see a bulletin board with information that will be updated with the newest things to know in order to run smoothly the committees. You will see the action plan. These are the activities which will be progress during this committee session. You will have the task description, some comments, the task leader, the venue, etc. So if you are interested in one of these activities, please go to the calendar and you can see the slot assigned for each of these activities. Here you have the calendar just for the ENAV meetings, no? So as you see, we have too much meetings in this moment because 3 committees are running at the same time. So if you want to have a more descriptive overview of what is going on in ENAV, you can go directly to the just ENAV calendar. Again, the resources, but this time the resources include the ENAV29 input papers that you can download all of them in order to be more in line with the work that we are going to progress this committee session. So here you can download all of the selected inputs document, and you have the agenda for this meeting. Here, this section, it's quite important because this section will be filled with the documents that are mature enough to be sent for the minimum of 3 days of silent approval process, 3 calendar days of silent approval process. So in this section of the dashboard, you will find the document ID, the title, the deadline for comments, and the status. I will go to, for example, to the ENCH one. As you well know, the deadline has passed for ENCH, and here you can see what documents are under silence approval, the status. There is a number of documents that will pass the silence statutory just now. So here you will have the same for ENAV. Again, you have the link to the file share, in this case for the ENAV folder in Nextcloud file share, and the terms of reference for ENAV. And I think, oh yes, this is quite important. If you don't want to miss any meetings, you can synchronize directly all the meetings or the ENAV meetings with your own Google Calendar, iCalendar, or directly exporting this as an ICS file, so you can upload and synchronize with your Outlook calendar. And I think this is all from my side, Hideki. I give you the floor.
Thank you, Jaime, and also I thank Secretariat for every time there is some kind of the improvement of this very good, useful dashboard. Okay, is there any question to using a dashboard? If nothing, okay, I will again ask Jaime to introduce Ayala style guide. Jaime, please.
Yes, the Ayala style guide is also you will find it as well as part of the resources for all the committees. So it is here, and you can find this here. So the Ayala style guide, as you all know, if you want to produce or review a document, it has the capability to harmonize across the 4 committees and across all the documents, the styling, their structure, in the wording, in the reference, in everything that possible that will provide and harmonize the document. And so we really ask you to read again this style guide. You have also a style guide course which give the highlights of this document. So both section in the resources for the 4 committees are really very interesting to read if you are producing a new document or reviewing an existing document.
Thank you, Jaime. Yeah, I also really recommend you to read this Ayala style guide, especially for non-native like me. It's a very useful document, and I understand Vice Chair Mr. Jorge Arroyo contributed to the update this one very much. So thank you, Jorge. Then I would like to move to the next agenda item, review of action items from ENAV 28, not ENAV 27. in my agenda item. But anyway, so Jaime, could you please show us the review of action items from ENAV29?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, apologies. Sorry. We are still working in one of the action items to feed the section with the ASM, with the VDS message in the Ayala technical part. So we are working closely with Jeffrey in order to have the same content in the navigation Netherlands that in Ayala website. And this is one outstanding task that we are preparing and expected to be finished in the course of this committee.
Jaime, Jaime, please little bit zoom in the paper. Yeah, some participant had a difficulty to see the paper.
Okay.
Yes, please zoom in. Okay, yeah, much better. Thank you. So that's only one matter that you have difficulty to accomplish in the action item from ENAV29, Jaime.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So 17th action item from Secretariat, only one action item remains. And I think it's all action item for the participants. I think you have a sufficient contribution to any matters. So I think it's a whole action item for the committee participant maybe already done at this session. Okay, thank you very much. So next, we would like to move to the report from other bodies. First, Misu, could you please introduce all Ayala very important meetings? First, Council, then PAP, and also technical document catalog. Please, Misu.
Thank you so much, Hideki. So good morning or good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Good to see you all. The first agenda is Ayala Council 3.1.1. Sorry. Yeah. So the 74th session of the meeting was held from 13th to 17th December last year as a virtual meeting. And there were a few topics that are of the interest of ENAV committee. The first thing was that the Council Strategy Drafting Group, which is a subsidiary of the Council, met on the Monday of the week and worked on the drivers and trend document, which is the one of the strategic documents of Ayala. The group is working on this, and the group will continue this work, and this work will be finished in June this year. And the other thing was that the Ayala and Korea Research Institute of Ships and Oceans had a signing ceremony of the MOU between the two organizations. So both sides will cooperate on the development of an MRN registry and other relevant areas. More information could be shared in the working group 1 of the committee. And also the council had a mini workshop on Mars. This meeting was for the councillors to follow up on the development and the work of Ayala on Mars. If you'd like to get more information about this event, please let me know. And at the council meeting, the Guideline 1128 was submitted and approved. The list of documents on the screen is the new and revised guidelines. And those 2 recommendations were approved and 3 model courses. And for your information, the recommendation 200 on the overview of E200 marine signal light was withdrawn as ENG committee requested. And VTS committee had finished a very long-standing task of updating the IMO VTS guideline. The new document has a new number, and many of the VTS documents and also one of ENAV documents had referenced this number in the document. Therefore, with this change, 11 recommendations and 26 guidelines and 7 model courses had been updated with a new number, which is 8.115832. This work has been finished, and this work has been finished by the Secretariat, and the VTS committee had a webinar on this event and about this change in English and Spanish and French. And also another piece of information is that the Council approved the revised committee work program from 2018 to 2023. And this is a piece of information for ENAV committee on the AIS and ASM survey. ARM committee at its 14th session last year prepared documents to the Council for the plan for the survey, and this was approved by the Council. So following that decision, Secretary conducted a survey, and the result has been sent to ARM committee. Therefore, if you are interested in this contents of these documents, I'd like to recommend you to look at those 2 documents of the ARM committee. You can see what happened on AIS and ASM. There is a group in ARM committee, and this paper will go to IMO NCSR 9 afterwards. If I may move to a technical documents catalog, the Secretariat has published the updated version of the technical documents catalog post the Council meeting last December. This document has a lot of update, and this document is very nice looking at the moment. So I like to recommend you to go to the link there, Ayala website, and you can find these documents from the website. And Hideki, can I move to POP also?
Sure, please.
Thanks, Hideki. Oh, sorry. So the 44th session of the POP meeting was held from 8th to 10th of February this year as a virtual meeting. The proposal of this meeting is to organize the technical topics between the committees. And it was a really efficient 3 days meeting to discuss many issues holistically. Many of them already have a separate agenda items and will be covered by working groups. Therefore, I'd like to cover just a few topics that are not covered by the meeting agenda today. But the first thing I'd like to raise is the mass, which will have a significant impact on the work of Ayala. After a long discussion in the group agreed to try to put together an Ayala mass guideline on this, and the ENAV committee will lead this work. And the draft skeleton of the document is shown on the screen on the right side. So the ENAV committee will try to cover the topics such as communication media, data transfer standards, and cybersecurity, and etc. Another topic I would like to raise is about the sustainability. And I'd like to recommend you to read the paper POP 44-6161. This is a good paper, and POP welcomed its proposal and general direction. And the abstract on the subject should be submitted to be delivered at the next Ayala conference. So there will be a presentation on this one. And another topic is on the maritime services in the context of e-navigation. So the group agreed to formulate an intercommittee working group on this and prepare an input paper to next MSC 105. And Dave Leeward from US Coast Guard is leading this group. I think that covers about the POP as well. So Hideki, so can I hand it over to you, please?
Thank you, Misu. Thank you. Is there any question to report of the Council PAP and also technical document catalog? So if nothing, next mass task force. And unfortunately, both chair and vice chair of this mass task force are not available at this opening plenary. So I would like to ask Jillian, the represented from ENAV to this mass task force. Could you please have some report regarding a mass task force?
Certainly, Hideki. Thank you very much. As we've just heard from Minsu, the mass task force has been active on our last meeting was on the 8th of December in 2021. And at that meeting was when we were discussing this concept of how to coordinate the work between the various committees and the development of the guideline. PAP has agreed that ENAV will be the overall document owner, which does put a significant effort on this committee. The sections of the guideline you already had a presentation of from Minsu. I won't go into that. One of the things that was noted is that mass is a fast-moving technology. In a way, it's hard to pin it down because there's so many developments that are happening, and they're happening in various areas. So we need to acknowledge that this document will need to be regularly updated. So it will be almost like a living document. And in this manner, the VTS committee has done some activity with this, also with identifying the development of mass test beds. As part of this work at the ENAV committee in ENAV28, we began looking at the guideline for e-navigation test beds, and we will continue that work here at ENAV29. I think that's probably enough of an update on mass right now, Hideki, unless there's anything specific that you'd like.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you very much, Jillian. And I know that the working group too has been very busy for all document owner of this mass guideline of all Ayala matters. But thank you very much, Jillian. Next, okay, I would like to again Minsu for the digital at sea.
Thank you, Hideki. Regarding the digital SC, for those of you who are not really familiar with the digital SC, this is a new version of the e-navigation underway, and it has been expanded, the scope of this event. So at the moment, I have only used on the conference series, but you will hear more about the capacity building workshop and cluster in due course. So I'm really happy to see that these digital SC conferences are back to normal. So the most upcoming one is a digital SC North America, which will be held in Tampa, Florida, from 11th to 12th of May 2022. And the Asia Pacific will be held in third quarter of 2022, maybe in Korea. And the international one will be held in early next year in Denmark. So I'd like to recommend you to save the date for this event. I think that's it, Hideki. Thanks.
Thank you, Minsu. Thank you very much. Then next agenda item goes to for me from IMO report. There are 3 meetings, IMO meetings related to this Ayala movement. Of course, one is Assembly 32nd session. This assembly already means say that IMO adopted new VTS guideline. Now it's published as a A.115832. This is one of the agenda item for assembly. Then move to the MSC 104 session. This 104 session, maybe most important matter for us is that MSC 104 agreed to restart the mass, because the mass regulatory scoping exercise was completed at MSC 103. Then interested member states and interested organization submitted many proposals to this mass walk, how to continue this mass walk. Then MSC 104 agree from MSC 105, and the target completion year, I think 2025, development of goal-based mass instruments. And MSC 105 in this coming April will start this work. And I think during the work, we need to contribute this development of mass instruments. I know what kind of the mass instrument at this point may be mandatory or non-mandatory, but I think it's ENAV is a very huge task to, especially regarding digital communication and also digital information for mass. And then also another meeting, the IMO ITU Joint Expert Group meeting, 70th session. I know that a lot of Ayala ENAV members attended this session, including me. And there are a lot of movement, and especially regarding to us is that some IMO, as you know, the ITU relation, there's a paper coming from the ITU to ask how to revise the ITUR M1371-5. But unfortunately, IMIT expert group has not enough member for, especially regarding navigation members. So this revision of IMO ITUR M1371-5 AIS technical specification will be done at the NCSR9 this coming June. And also the IMIT G17, they finished many regulations or circulars, resolutions and circulars related to the modernization of GMDSS. And this goes to also NCSR9. This is a big movement from IMO. So if you have any comment or any additional information, then I would like to ask Mr. Minsu again regarding movement of the IHO. Minsu, please.
Thank you. So the next agenda is on IHO. The first news is that the date and venue for the Ayala IHO joint workshop has been confirmed. So this event will take place in Ålesund, Norway, from 5th to 9th September 2022. So please note that this is a physical event. So and the physical event and the purpose of this event is to gain a common understanding between the organizations regarding the concept and the use of S100 framework to advance the development and delivery of e-navigation maritime services, and to examine the current efforts of the goal of harmonization between the organizations. Therefore, if you're not familiar with S100 and 200 and like to get to know more about this initiative, I recommend you to join this event, and you could hear about what it is and the backgrounds and it goes. So, and also this event will cover some of the technical services as well. So there is a presentation on how to deliver the S100 data and standards and guidelines for the development of technical e-navigation services. So I would like to recommend you to join this event. And there was a sixth IHO Ayala technical cooperation meeting in November last year. So it was another chance to update on the development of S100 and 200 between the two organizations. So it was a good chance to report what Ayala is doing in the all committees. And another piece of news is that IHO GI Registry Concept Register DCB workshop was held in last month. And this was a kind of training session for all the domain coordinating bodies. So WMO and Ayala and other all the domain coordinating bodies participated in this event, and we learned how to agree on the proposals. So when there is any proposals on the definitions in IHOGI registry, this diagram shows how to approve this thing. So this was a good training course, and the Secretariat will develop a procedure on this one. And those are some examples of the proposals. So there is definitions and the descriptions and the date, and when they are relevant to Ayala, we can consider them. So I will be back with a procedure on this one. I think that's a short update on IHO, Hideki.
Okay, thank you, Minsu. Thank you very much. Then next, I would like to ask Mr. Stefan Forber for the movement of the ITU. Stefan, please.
Yes, thank you, Hideki. I tried to share the document. Can you see the document?
Not yet. Maybe coming soon. Okay, now we see.
Okay.
Could you zoom in? Yeah.
Yes, this is document ENAV29 351. It's a report from the last ITU Working Party 5B meeting, which took place in 20 November to 12th of December last year, 2021. This is a regular report, so you are quite familiar with the content. As you know, ITU Working Party 5B meets regularly two times a year. It was a web meeting again to the COVID situation. The issues which are addressed, first of all, is a revision of recommendation ITUR M2092-0, which is a VHF data exchange system. There was a revision from -0 to -1. We worked quite a while for that, and this revision has now been published. It is available on the VT ITU website since beginning of March this month, and so congratulations to all of those who has contributed to the work to get the revision of this important document for our work through ITU. So this is then more or less closed for the time being. Next one, and Hideki, our chairman also referred to it, is the revision of the IES standard, which is ITUR M1371. Here it's ongoing work, and as you have heard, there is a liaison note at Ayala as well as at IMO to reply to, and Ayala replied already to this liaison note with our opinion, but IMO did not have the chance to reply due to time constraints, and it is expected that the reply to this liaison note from ITU to IMO will be answered next meeting in June, I think, or July, NCSR 9. So we will follow this and need maybe further work on this. There are some inputs in our meeting here to possibly send a liaison note to IMO or ITU as well. Next point would be the agenda, new agenda item for World Radio Conference 23. Here of relevance is the modernization of GMDSS and the implementation of e-navigation. This is ongoing work, of course, for the World Radio Conference next year. The modernization of GMDSS is on its way. There is quite a bit of activity. There is a removal of narrowband direct printing from the requirements. There is an introduction of NAVDAT. There's also an introduction of an automatic connection system for MF and HF, DSC. And there are some news from emergency position indicating radio beacon EPIRB on this. Issue B would be is a proposal of for e-navigation. Actually, there is nothing new for World Radio Conference 23. So As you know, ITU have already dealt with the introduction of VDES and NAVDAT. Both are well standardized, and at the moment there are new requirements for e-navigation from IMO towards ITU. And so it is assumed at the moment that e-navigation will not have new frequency allocation at ITU. As mentioned, VDS and NAVDAT is in place. Satellite networks are available to support e-navigation. And of course, we have to distinguish e-navigation is not part of GMDSS. But if you see as part of GMDSS, which would be the introduction of additional satellite systems for GMDSS, and here it's ongoing work, and IMO is evaluating an application from a geostationary satellite system to become a new GMDS satellite provider. And maybe the last one which I would focus on is the recommendation, the second last one, the recommendation of the maritime identities 585. We have contributed to maritime identity for autonomous maritime radio devices, Group B, as well as Group A, and for this we have now in this document the MID for MMSI for IMMD is 979, and then a number from the free numbering form. This document is still in the process to being published, but it is approved by the committee, by the working group. So it should be available first quarter of this year, but it's not yet available. So, and coming to the autonomous maritime radio devices, the recommendation ITUR M2135 is under revision. It's quite a bit of work, especially for Group B RMD, which are quite a bit of technical clarifications and technical amendments to this document. And then the others are more for you to note. There are, of course, in this document here, several other recommendations listed, which are currently under revision. I'm not going into detail to that due to time constraints. Just one which might also be of importance is a new report about electronic interference from LED and other sources. This is of course an issue which is on the bridge of a ship, very important to consider possible interference from LED and others here as well. Good, and this is my report. Thank you for listening, and if there are any questions, feel free to ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. If any question, if no question, next, then I would like again for Stefan and also Jorge regarding IEC matter. So maybe I think it's Stefan first, then Jorge regarding IEC report. Thank you, Stefan and Jorge, please.
Good. Yes. Thank you. I just started with it. IEC TC80 Working Group 15, which is dealing with AIS and VDE technical standardization from IEC point of view, is now in the process to prepare a new work item proposal for VDES stations. The vision is to have one standard which addresses the VDES functionality, which also will have the mobile side, shipborne side, as well as the shore side considered. This work is ongoing. We expect that we will have a new work item proposal mid or end of this year, and then officially the clock will start within 2 years' time. We will need to develop a standard for VDES from IC point of view. And this is ongoing, and I invite everyone who is interested to participate at IC Working Group 15 to help to develop this standard. Thank you.
Thank you. Then, Jorge, do you have anything for IEC meeting?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good day to everyone. As I mentioned at the last session, the maintenance team 5 was working on the NAV presentation standard, IEC 62288, its 3rd edition, doing quite a bit of work to improve the display of AIS ATONs, particularly mobile ATONs and AIS ASMs. I'm pleased to report that that was published in December of last year, so that work has been completed, and that edition is available for purchase, or actually for downloading for anyone's use. Other than that, that's all I have for IEC.
Thank you, Jorge. Could you continue to the movement for the RTCM, please?
Yes, good. Once again, our RTCM, the active work currently that impacts the ENAV committee, there's 2 guidelines that are currently being circulated for approval. One is concerning something that Stefan had mentioned, LED, electronic magnetic interference. There's a guideline on addressing that. And then another guideline that was presented to the committee, I want to say a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, regarding guideline for drafting AIS ASMs. Both of those, I think, close this month and should then be available for publication by this summer. And then, as Vinsu mentioned, RTCM will be hosting our Digital at Sea conference in May. That will be done in conjunction with their annual assembly that will take place that week, beginning on Monday. We encourage anybody to come on over. Hopefully everything will be nice and facilitate things for coming over here with no restrictions on anyone. And we hope to have a good attendance and have the opportunity to see everybody in person come in May in nice, sunny, beautiful Tampa. That's all I have for RTCM, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jorge. Yeah, I really hope to go, but I'm not sure yet. But anyway, so next report, I think Derek, could you please report regarding the movement of the ETSI?
Yep, certainly. Yes, sorry, I think Derek was unable to attend this meeting.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Thank you. I managed to sneak in. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Obi, for jumping in there. That's great. Yeah, ETSI, TG Marine met 2 weeks ago. I had a useful meeting. Couple of items is the first one was we were notified by SEPT FM58 about AMRDs. We are basically we've not been asked for any standardization, so we're not taking any further comment on that at the moment. There is considerable activity within the cyber task group and how cybersecurity affects marine radios in particular. There are a certain amount of misconceptions regarding the use of MMSIs and GPS location, which the Cyber TG decided were information that needed to be protected, which clearly would make it very difficult for AIS to work, for one thing. So they are being re-educated at the moment. A couple of standards changes to withdraw old standards, which are in particular the AIS one, which was this has been covered by IEC anyway. Bureaucratic and procedural issues are still existing within the European Commission. However, they're slowly being worked through. These affect not just TG Marine, but all the ETSI standards groups. But we're working through that. DSC, a couple of things happening there regarding bridge alert management and remote control, but they're proceeding fine. The man overboard standard is out for approval. Hopefully that should match what IEC and RTCM are doing. The Digital Voice Marine technical report was published by the working group, but then got stopped sadly by the parent committee because of concerns of how it affects the GMDSS, which of course it doesn't. So there has been a new draft this week. So hopefully that will be out for approval later this week. Various work on inland waterways and non-SOLAS radars continues. There is still discussion on the test methodologies involved, especially for some of the older magnetron radars, especially in regards to IMD. So if anybody's got any comments or suggestions, I think the TG will be very grateful to receive them. Thank you. That's about it.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you very much. And then finally, I would like to invite Minsu again for 3GPP. But I know that also this opening ceremony, we have a presentation from the 3GPP from Ms. Ku. But anyway, so Minsu, if you please report the movement of the 3GPP.
Yeah, thanks, Hideki. Exactly as you said, we are lucky to have our 3GPP representative, Hyuni Gu. So I think she is in a better position to explain about the development. So I'd like to ask Hyuni later. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss. Okay, so maybe we have a 3GPP report from on presentation, and then I would like to move to the next agenda item to online presentation. First, I would like to invite Mr. Lars Molston for the VDS updates. So, Mr. Molston, floor is yours, please.
Thanks, Hideki. You should be able to see me by now, and you should be able to see my screen by now.
Okay, yeah. We see the screen.
Start.
Please.
So thank you for the opportunity to give a little update on our Sternula AIS 2.0 satellite network, which is, of course, to some of you more known as VDS satellite network. But I think also I talked about this last year, that we started using AIS 2.0 as a kind of a synonym for VDS, because it tends to be much easier to explain when we talk to people outside the inner circles of Ayala and the technology development around VDS. So here I use both AIS 2.0 and VDS. Of course, we are working to meet some needs for digitalization in the maritime industry, where there are both a number of public services that are in focus, but also some commercial services that can be applied over our future AIS 2.0 satellite network. When it comes to the public services, it's mainly those that you may already know from the IMO e-navigation strategy implementation plan. So, for instance, the distribution of maritime safety information shown here, vessel traffic service, and then there are, I believe, 16 specific services in total in the strategy implementation plan. But then you can also use it for more commercial applications, like the reporting from critical onboard equipment, such as the engine, or you could use it for booking different resources like shipyards, port slots or pilots, icebreakers, whatever. Yeah, quick slide on what the full solution will look like. VDS is this, you can see it as a new maritime IoT network with its own radio spectrum allocated. You have ship-to-ship connectivity. Ships can communicate directly using VDS. You have a ship-to-shore, known as VDE terrestrial, and then you have the ship-to-satellite link, which is where we come in Sternula, to offer this global connectivity. So, including the downlink, which is essential for many of these digital services that were in focus in the previous slides. So, our purpose of living is to offer this global satellite-based AIS 2.0 network. Now it's getting interesting, because when is this happening? As most of you know, the radio spectrum has been allocated in several steps over the past year. The last one was at the World Radio Conference, ITU World Radio Conference in 2019, where also the VDSat spectrum was finally approved. So if you look at this illustration of the North Sea region, there's the sort of GMGSS area A1, which is shown in orange here, which will be at some point covered by terrestrial VDES. And we expect that the coastal nations here in this region should be done around 2026 by deployments of or upgrades of the existing AIS networks. But we will be much faster than that because our first satellite is scheduled to launch this year in October, and then we will essentially be able to provide some satellite coverage in these waters already from beginning of 2023 for non-real-time services. So yeah, of course, with a single satellite, it's not anywhere near real-time, but it's quite useful for some use cases, periodic connectivity to vessels or even buoys. And then broadcasting of MSI, weather forecasts, ice charts, if we go a little bit higher north, can be done over this satellite. And this is the same roadmap as I believe that I showed you last year. We have the first satellite flying this year, and then we have a plan for 4 more satellites in 2024. 16 more satellites in 2026, and then another 40 satellites in 2028, which means we have 60 satellites that should be enough for something really close to global real-time connectivity. I have also indicated here something like sort of the minimum, the worst coverage is around the equator when we have the single satellite, because it takes these 95 minutes to do one orbit. So we will be around the North Pole and the South Pole, 15 to 16 times per day, and then due to the rotation of Earth, we will pass, the Earth will pass our orbit something like twice a day at the equator. And then as we add more satellites, we get closer and closer to real time, and by 2028, as I said, we should have at very close to real time connectivity, a little bit depending on how it's implemented. Yeah, this is just a little bit homemade, invented solution that we believe could be a really nice application to be deployed from next year when we have the flying satellite. Something where you want to monitor the green profile of a vessel. Something where you do some measurements on the exhaust from the vessel and measure the fuel usage. You have a little green profile box deployed, which then combines the data also with the position of the vessel, and then uses the standard AIS interface, which is this NEMIA string interface, or an MCP, maritime connectivity platform-based interface to transport or transmit data back home to some server where you can then monitor data. And then if you are in sort of near shore waters, you can use the VDE TER network, and if you're in the big oceans, you can use our satellite network. The idea and the really new thing is here you have a very simple and very cheap for the ship owner solution that gives you a global green profiling monitoring service. Something that I would like to share with you is that sort of early next year, most likely in April, we are going to launch what we call the Worldwide AIS 2.0 demo project. And hereby, we invite you all to take part in it. If you are interested in being part of this AIS 2.0 demo project, then you should just go to our webpage, use the link shown here. And then you should start implementing your own test service that you want to have tested during this 1 month project. Or you should just get in touch with me or one of our guys and subscribe to receive some prepared services that we'll make available. And one is to allow for ships to receive virtual buoys, virtual H navigation, something that already works in AIS, but which will be working sort of outside A1, GMGSS area A1 with the VIDES network. Also one that allows you to receive MSI messages or receive AIS 2.0 weather bulletins, as we call it. Of course, using some standardized IHO data formats. Then, of course, you need to figure out which ship or which vessels you want to have part of the test, and it should be equipped with one of the new AIS 2.0 capable terminals. That could be, for instance, I know that the Saab R6 model is one that supports VIDES, because we're already doing some tests with it. The idea is that you do your own test, your own sub project of the big project, and you will probably want to show off and present the results to others. That could be within the community, because we also plan to have a community of people working together around this, but also in local media, show that it works. We have AIS 2.0 operational from this date. That's it. Hope it was useful.
Thank you, Ras.
Any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Ras. Yeah, it's a very interesting presentation, and especially I'm very excited to hear about the AIS 2.0 project from next year. But anyway, so any question or comments on the presentation, please? Okay, if you don't have, I have one comment regarding your presentation, and you, Ras, introduce a green profile demo or something like that using VDS. And as you know, Ayala is now moving toward how to use H navigation in environmental sustainable movement. So maybe not different committee, we call the engineering committee, plan to have a workshop maybe in this coming November. And they asked us to how e-navigation, our committee, contribute to this kind of the environmental sustainability. So I think it's this one is a very good example for how VDES satellite contribute to this environmental sustainability. So maybe I will ask, maybe we need to use your presentation to introduce NG committee for how we can contribute to this environmental sustainability.
It's an idea that came up in a talk I had with a ship management company. So as a company that takes care of ship operations on behalf of the ship owner. So they operate around 300 different ships, and they have some obligations to do some green profile monitoring, and this is the draft architecture that came up and that I presented to them. So I just stole it and used it in this presentation. But definitely something people are interested in.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ras. Okay, thank you very much. And if you have any question to Ras' presentation, maybe you can use chat box to ask Ras. Okay, thank you very much, Ras. Okay,
thank you.
Then next, I would like to invite maybe from the Netherlands. I think Jeffrey, who will be a presenter for this startup of a project of the digitalization of North Sea, so Dutch part. Jeffrey, do you know who will?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. But my colleague Cas Willems will give the presentation because he knows more about it. So you always have to get the person who will know more about the presentations. So I leave it over to them.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. William Kass, and also Henry Wimbander. Please give us a presentation.
Thank you very much. You see my presentation?
Yes, we see the presentation. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for providing me the opportunity to present this very new initiative in the Netherlands, what we call Digital and Connected North Sea. And of course, we mean with North Sea, the Dutch part of the North Sea. I'm Cas Willems, and I'm very pleased to see my old colleagues in the audience like Omar, Lillian, Stefan. I'm working for the Ministry of Transport in the Netherlands together with Wim van der Ende, and of course, you know, Jeffrey van Gils as one of your team. We just started this initiative, and I'm pleased to inform you on this initiative because we need your expertise and we need your experience in the coming years to bring this to a good end. Of course, nothing new for you. It's really getting busy, very busy on the North Sea. If you see the Netherlands, it's really busy. But that's not only related to shipping activities. When I see in the Netherlands what's going on, and of course it's also daily business in your country or in your organizations, we see the North Sea in transition, caused by the increase of mobility and transport. Smart mobility is coming up, mass is coming up, but we see also the initiatives for building wind parks, but also alternative energy parks, going towards the transition for more sustainable energy. And industry is popping up on the North Sea. In the middle of the North Sea, we have this development of sustainable blue economy. And of course, we have to protect in this environment nature. And there are a lot of activities increasing throughout the whole North Sea to protect our nature, to protect our water quality. And in the middle of that, close to all those transitions, we have the digital transition. And I will focus on that in the next slides. What we see, and I only took some of the logos of initiatives, research activities, innovations, and services and business processes on the North Sea. It's partly our Dutch initiative, but I'm sure you will recognize many of them. They all have in common that data and information is needed, that intelligence is getting more and more important, and connected to the last presentation, connectivity, digital connectivity is essential for not only the North Sea and not only the Dutch part of the North Sea, but worldwide. But luckily in Europe, and also in the Netherlands, of course, we have in those enormous amount of activities in this drawing on the right side, I drafted, and you cannot read it, but I drafted the activities on that Dutch part of the North Sea, and we are focusing on that part, and I hope in the future we can extend it to other parts of the North Sea, other parts of Europe, and maybe worldwide. We have supporting policies helping us to bring the North Sea to the future and to assist us in the digitalization of the North Sea. You have the European Green Deal. You have the marine strategy framework to protect our environment. We have, of course, maritime spatial planning as one of the essential directives for the coming years to bring the North Sea to the future. The Blue Economy Directive, and of course, at the end, we need the overarching European digital strategy to bring the digital and connected North Sea a little bit further. When I talk about the digital connected North Sea, we want that because we need to keep the North Sea safe, livable, accessible, and economical, profitable, and in balance with the nature. And for that, we have to collect, exchange, and share information for all those functions on the North Sea. The ultimate goal is a digital connected North Sea where interconnected users work together and innovate to maximize the potential of that North Sea and to add new values to it. We can only do that in close cooperation between governmental organizations, non-governmental organizations, and research and development institute, and of course the industry. In a digital information infrastructure has to be developed and implemented. To reach that, we must establish national but also international collaboration and find synergies between different organizations, different countries, and different stakeholders on those maritime waters. And that's, of course, one of the reasons why I'm here. I'm asking your cooperation and I'm asking your support. And we have to realize the basic infrastructure that's needed. On one hand, we want more infrastructure, and on the other hand, you see, for example, that platforms on the North Sea are disappearing because apparently we don't want the use of gas and oil in the future in the same way as we have it now. And we have to create information facilities and digital connectivity for all functions on the North Sea. So we started in the Netherlands and through different departments, different ministries, the development of an implementation program for the digitalization of the Dutch part of the North Sea with focus on the period 2030 and 2040. But that's close. So we have to start now, and we start this project together with the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management, or the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Defense, related to the Coast Guard, the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate. I don't have to tell you why this ministry is one of the leading organizations, and we have the connection to the Ministry of Nature and Food Quality related to fishery. As you can see, we, Rijkswaterstaat, we have an offshore expertise center, and we take the lead in this activity that will last for the coming 2 or 3 years. What we want to do is to develop a vision of governmental and non-governmental stakeholders on their information and connectivity needs for the future, for those services and those tasks which those organizations are responsible for, with the objective to create a joint digital infrastructure. We have also the support in the Netherlands of a connectivity field lab where we are already doing some innovations and pilots and field trials on digital connectivity, and I think that's close related to what I learned from the previous speaker. It's on a high level at this moment. That's my presentation for today. I hope I can tell you more and tell you about the first results in the coming year. But then I like to come to Paris instead of doing it via screen. For more detailed information on the objectives, timeframe, and work program of the initiative, please contact me, Wim van der Ende, or of course you can always contact Jeffrey. If you want to connect your organization to the initiative, please feel free to ask us. And for this moment, I'd like to thank you for listening to me. And if there are questions, I of course want to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kass, and thank you very much, Joe. It's a very interesting presentation, and especially as I said previous presentation, it's maybe how digital contribute to the sustainability. And then, if you, if anybody have any question or comments, and maybe I think we can approach these all presentation slides in a few hours. And so maybe you can have a question access point from the slide. Thank you very much, Mr. Kass. Thank you very much. Then next presentation, as already we announced, we have Miss Hyun-Ni Koo from 3GPP. So Miss Hyun-Ni Koo, floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, very clear.
Yeah, I will share my screen.
Yeah, now we see the screen.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for inviting me to attend the Ayala ENAV meeting and then having an opportunity of introducing the recent 3GPP standardization trend at this Ayala meeting. I'd like to briefly present 3GPP Release 18 prioritization for 5 advanced that 3GPP made the decision in the SA plenary held in December last year. It's the outlines of my presentation today. First, I would like to introduce the timelines of Release 18 and Release 19 standardization confirmed in 3GPP so far. A requirement from several industries were provided for the discussion of the Release 18 prioritization last year. As you may be informed, the maritime requirements were also presented at TSGSA workshop that was held in last September based on the maritime perspectives developed by the collaboration with the Ayala Secretariat, with the loss of inputs from market representative partners related to vertical industries, as well as the 3GPP members. The contents of Release 18 packages and the timeline for Stage 2 and Stage 3 standardizations were confirmed by 3GPP as a plenary in December last year. According to the confirmed timeline, Release 18 standardization will be freezed by December 2023 by completing to develop a Stage 3 specification. In parallel, SA Working Group 1 started RIS 19 Stage 1 standardization with a new process. According to the new process introduced, candidates for the new studies can be presented at Essay Working Group 1 meetings in November 2021 and February 2022. And then the new studies can be agreed for RIS 19 Stage 1 standardization at Essay Working Group 1 meetings in February and May this year. Of course, it is possible to have exceptions if a consensus is made in Essay Working Group 1. Essay Working Group 1 didn't have the prioritization process to limit the number of studies and works so far. However, if needed, the prioritization process will be carried out like in Essay Plenary, and such a process will be handled in a short adult meeting at Essay 198B's meeting in May. The timeline for RIS 19 Stage 1 standardization is proposed to be by September 2023 in terms of the perspective of Essay Working Group 1, and it will be decided whether it will be confirmed or not during Essay Plenary meeting that is held from this week. And from this slide, I would like to provide the brief introduction on the overview of RIS 18 prioritization. This slide shows the all studies approved from all working groups in 3GPP, Essay, and RAN. As you might know, I collaborated with the Ayala Secretariat to develop maritime demands on candidates of 3GPP 18 works. Candidates related to coverage expansions and positioning were presented to need to be prioritized for 5G advanced standardization in the perspective of maritime sectors at TSG Essay workshop held in September last year. This slide summarized the list of studies related to coverage expansion that were approved for the RIS 18 standardization in Essay Working Group 2 and RAN Working Group 1 and 2. You can find out the short description and objective of each study in the Annex 1 in this presentation document. And also, this slide summarized the list of studies related to positioning that were approved for the RIS 18 standardization in Essay Working Group 2 and RAN Working Group 1. Short description and objective of the listed studies here can be found in Annex 1 as well. Essay Working Group 1 started RIS 19 Stage 1 standardization, and we will look at the current standardization status briefly. Essay Working Group 1 agreed 5 studies for RIS 19 Stage 1 standardization, and they were supposed to be approved TSG Essay Plenary that is held from tomorrow. I will introduce the brief description on 2 studies, which are FS Sensing and FS Ambient IoT, because they could be related to future A2N service over 5 advanced systems. First, FS Sensing study was agreed to be carried out during RIS 19 Stage 1 standardization. Its objectives are to study use case and potential requirement for the enhancement of the 5G advanced system to provide integrated communication and sensing services, addressing different target verticals and applications, including maritime sector. Service scenarios related to smart A2N with the sensors can be taken into account as the use case of these studies for maritime sector. So I consider the plan to contribute such a scenario in SA1 work. So if you are interested to be participate, and then please contact me, and then I will figure out how we could collaborate after discussing with our secretary and maybe working group to Jillian later. And second, FS ambient IoT study was agreed to be carried out as well for list 19 stage 1 standardization. Its objectives are to study use case and potential requirement to support ambient power-enabled Internet of Things whose energy is provided through the harvesting of radio waves, light, motion, heat, or any other power source that could be seen suitable. Service scenarios relate to smart A2N with ambient power-enabled Internet of Things can also be taken into account as a use case of these studies for maritime sector as well. And also, candidate for list 19 stage 1 standardizations were discussed in SA Working Group 1 meeting in last February, and they were scheduled to be decided on whether they were agreed or not in May 2022. 5 candidates shown on the slide with the blue color are related to coverage expansions. I think you can figure out that one of the hot agenda in 3GPP list 18 and list 19 standardization is coverage expansions that several industries have kept making voice on for their digital transformation over 5G systems. For information is the meeting schedule of SA Working Group 1 in charge of the development of a technical specification in the perspective of a service requirement. Thank you. It's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Ku. Yeah, very good presentation and regarding the movement of the 3GPP. Is there any question? Ku? If nothing, I think working groups has contacted closely with 3GPP. So if those interested in the movement of this 3GPP, I would recommend to attend working group too. So thank you very much, and we finished all the presentation. Then next, I would like to move to the agenda item 5, review of input papers. Jaime, could you show the input papers list?
Yes, 1 moment. Okay.
Thank you very much. Could you zoom in a little bit more? Okay, thank you. We already have maybe 41 documents. Some documents are a bit late because of the corona. Some working group that couldn't have any intersessional meetings, so it's a little bit late. And also, I have to inform you. Now I'm attending also the ENG committee meeting, and they are planning to submit 3 liaison notes. One is regarding sustainability, and one is regarding R mode, and one is regarding IMO input paper to NSCSR 9 on agenda item 10 of the World Radio Conference 2023. I think it's already a sustainable workshop proposal from NG committee finished the silent approval. So I think Jaime will soon upload this liaison note to our document. But I think it's this one is coming because we have a sustainable workshop in this coming November under lead of the NG committee. And but as I say that the NG committee thinks that this is a kind of the movement of the whole committee because ARM need some kind of sustainability movement and also VTS and also in our committee us. And like already we see the two previous presentation. I know that the digital technique is very good for the sustainable development. So in this case, I already asked the Jillian to take over this liaison note to consider how data technology like a green IT solution will contribute to that environmental sustainability. And NG committee asked us to recommend one representative from the ENAV to participate in the steering committee. So we have an involvement of this workshop. So I think it maybe Jillian working group discussed this paper and maybe raise back to them. And then next to agenda, next liaison notice coming from the R-mode. This is a kind of the information to the R-mode movement, but actually NG working group really want to have a inter-committee meeting with us, especially our working group 3, or both in the working group 3 in the NG and the ENAV for the standardization of R-mode. But I know that already our working group 3 has maybe R-mode time. So I will inform the NG committee if those interested in the NG committee, please participate in the working group 3 R-mode meeting. And also one more liaison note is related to the my input paper regarding IMO input to the IMO input to NCSR9 for proposal to agenda item 10 of World Radio Conference 2023 regarding IMO position. So I think NG committee already reviewed my paper and made some kind of the editorial change, and they produce a new editorial change one to us, and I think it's working group 3 of enough, and we can finalize this input to council approval. So this liaison note will soon coming to our input paper list. And also one thing I have to ask you is that one of the input paper from Japan Coast Guard is a workshop proposal for the maritime digital infrastructure. Because unfortunately, 2 years ago, we cannot have any ENAV committee meeting in Tokyo. So instead, next year, maybe from January to March, I would like to invite all of you again to our workshop. And if you have any comment, we already submitted this paper to the PAP because this is also as all committee involvement, and PAP already agreed. But if have some kind of the more refinement of the finalization to this workshop proposal before going to council. So if you have any comment or maybe suggestion, please let me know. I'm personally chairing this one to finalize in this session to go to the council in this coming June. So if you are interested in, please contact me. Thank you. And all the other paper is already allocated designated working group. So if you are interested in, please participate in working groups. Okay, thank you very much. This is agenda item 5. Then next most important matter is to agenda item 6, to work program. And I would like to invite each working group chairs to what is your plan to this coming this ENAV29. So first, Axel, please introduce your working program and arrangement during this ENAV29. Axel, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Hideki, and hello, distinguished delegates. Warm welcome also from my side. It's now for me an honor to present you the work plan for this committee meeting on work group 1. First, to our tasks, you can find all these tasks are also in the dashboard. So we go on based on an extensive input document on our work to develop a marine aids to navigation technical service specification. And last time we postponed the work on the development on the position paper on the concept of maritime services as the basic concept of ENAV. So about quality of services, service level agreements, and all that stuff. Last time we not had enough volunteers to do the work, so we postponed that to this time. So it's a question how to start that. And we have an ongoing activity to revise the guidance document on maritime services in the context of e-navigation. And then I would like to put your special emphasis on an activity just initiated between the ENAV committee and the VTS committee. And we will have a joint activity to develop according technical service specification for VTS services. So this is a joint undertaking, and we will make some joint meetings here. And this activity is led by Thomas Christensen. So even if you not have time to join the work group 1 meeting, we have further details there. Thomas Christensen is the guy who can be addressed to join this activity, and you are warmly welcome, because I think that is quite a good blueprint for the cooperation of ENAV and other committees. So very important work here to do. Regarding then the special activities on our work plan, as I already said, they right from the task. We have the activity on technical service specifications for ATONs, led by Thomas Christensen. So we have already here some activities signed here and scheduled some tasks. We have an activities here on cybersecurity, and we ask Martin Evan to lead that. This is an outcome of the activity of the cybersecurity workshop of Ayala. And it is also an activities discussed once with, I think, work group 3, Stefan Piemeier, about supporting AIS and VDES with cyber secure measurements like authentication, encryption, and all that stuff. And we have activity here as well as an action taken from these cybersecurity workshop. I think it was virtual hosted in Canada. I think one activity here, we should also seek cooperation to work group 2. We have the activity on mass requirements on 2 maritime services. This is an activity led by our co-host, or my co-host, Jin Park. And we have an ongoing activity on maritime resource names, and another activity here about the position paper on maritime services. And that's more or less the activities we will handle here. You are warmly welcomed to meet us. So we start quite early, as it is usual for work group 1. So we start tomorrow, and it would be great to welcome you all there. See you again tomorrow. Thank you very much, Hideki and distinguished delegates, and I hope stay healthy and peaceful, everybody.
Thank you, Axel. Thank you very much. Busy week. Okay, then next, I would like to ask Jillian to introduce working group to work arrangement and the task plan, please.
Thank you very much. And I'm just sharing my screen. I hope you can see my proposed work activity for ENAV29 now.
Yes. Yes,
Very
Jillian.
good. So working group 2 has a busy session planned. These are the key items that we will be working on. And so we will continue our review of technologies, our task 115. We have the Aurelia review to complete. And what we will be also looking at is a presentation from Qualcomm. And that presentation will be looking at the concept of location using 5G. So that presentation will be happening. I'll go through the dates in just a moment. As we've heard just recently now from Ms. Koo, we will be doing work on the 3GPP or the IMT development. We have some draft documents. We have an ongoing item with liaison to IMO, so we'll confirm on the requirements for that. And I also note the developments at 3GPP as per the presentation that we've just had. So thank you so much for that, Ms. Koo. We will be reviewing the draft recommendation and guideline on IoT that was developed at a couple of meetings back. We had put that out to have input received from other committees or from the more holistic Ayala framework. We have no input received, but we will continue that work on that. I do note as well the work from 3GPP on the ambient IoT. So probably slot that into there from the presentation that we've just had. Then we have a significant amount of work around MAS, and this has come from the MAS task force. It has come from our existing documents that we had, and also the requirement to review G1107. We have the ongoing task to turn the MRCP into a maritime communications manual. We have identified work items for the next work term, which we will review and update into task items. And we also had worked on AI and machine learning. I also note that that popped up in the 3GPP presentation as well. So there's a lot of links there. I do appreciate that presentation. It's very useful. So those are the key areas that we're working on. The program is fairly ambitious. It is on the Ayala calendar, and we will be kicking off on the 16th of March with our opening plenary for Working Group 2. And then on the 16th of March as well, at 2000 UTC, is the presentation from Qualcomm on 5G positioning for ports. We will then go through and have 2 sessions on the MRCP review. The first session will be on the 17th. 2 sessions on MAS, and the first session will be on the 18th of March. And then we will follow through with any further review on the Qualcomm. We will finalize the Aurelia and any other technologies that have been identified and continue through the schedule to a closing plenary that is scheduled for the 28th of March in time for the information to be provided through to the Ayala Secretariat for the closing plenary of ENAV29 on the 1st of April. And I think that is it. Any questions?
Thank you, Jillian. Also very busy week for you. And if no question, then I would like to ask Mr. Stefan Fielmeyer for Working Group 3 working arrangement during this session. Stefan, please.
Yes, thank you, Hideki. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, and also see your face.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. And I want to share just shortly with you my browser. Yes, that should be that one. Yeah. Working Group 3 welcomes you to ENAV29. we have a lot of work ahead of us. I'm sharing here with you the agenda of our starting meeting tomorrow, opening meeting tomorrow. It starts at 11 UTC and goes until 15 UTC. And above kind of the normal things we have to start with, reviewing the agenda and so on, I want to share with you what are the main topics throughout this ENAV. We will look at 1371-5. There are updates to make at ITU, and there's maybe some coordination we want to do with IMO. Then we are currently working, and we have opened that just now, the revision of Guideline 1117, overview on VIDES, where I also want to explicitly talk to Working Group 2. So Working Group 2, please wake up. We are changing Guideline 1117 now, and we have already had an intersessional workshop that was a little bit delayed and just happened 2 weeks ago. So there was a very late input to this meeting where we have kind of taken a snapshot of our work in progress and attached it to. So you find it as an official input, I believe, to this meeting. And I will shortly go through when we have which sessions in the Ayala calendar. Everything is visible in the calendar, so everybody who wants to participate can participate. And if you cannot participate, but you still have an input, you're welcome to send me or Stefan Bober an email, or if you don't know that, contact Jaime. I'm sure he can help you with forwarding the input to Working Group 3. Okay, so G1117 is a little bit in focus, this ENAV29. Then we get some, I might say a minor point, but still interesting, looking into updates that IMO is planning on Circular 1617. And we have also some updates on the ASM list. I believe and hope that Jeffrey will help us with that throughout the week. And we have a discussion on R mode for sure. We want to prepare a workshop on R mode because R mode is very spread. It's also in other committees, so it makes sense to organize a workshop in order to prepare everything that is needed to get R mode treated right at World Radio Conference in 2023 and then also in 2027, because we need an ITU work item for R mode. Then we have a task 3.2 item to look at VIDES again, ITU RM 2092. The big highlight here is that ITU just published the new revision of that document last week. And I think we can congratulate all to each other in Ayala. It was a big effort by many people in Ayala and outside Ayala, of course, to get that done. So that was really a good thing, but still there is work to be done here, and we need to look into necessary clarifications on the document and discuss the future of Ayala Guideline 1139. Okay, then we have, as always in these days, to discuss the new work program, of course. We need to consider several things that we want to do in the new work program, meaning things we are not ready in this work program, we need to take over in the new one. So all this will happen in the plenary meetings. And we have, as CDK already named, 2 interesting input papers we also need to look at. So when will that happen? Part of these very generic items I just shared with you will happen on the first day in our plenary. So that's tomorrow between 11 and 15. The other stuff received specific meetings. So on Wednesday, we will start looking into the guideline 1117. There were some people who have prepared some inputs for this meeting. and we want to look at how far we got and distribute further homework. And then we can go to working group 3 here on Thursday. We have 2 sessions actually shown on the meeting plan here, and the one is generally on AIS, so that's mainly ITU 1371. And we have a discussion on R mode. That's both on Thursday, and you can just follow these links here, of course, to join the meetings. And then on Friday, we have a plenary session where we discuss the minor points, the points that couldn't receive an extra item, because we don't know, does it take 5 minutes or does it take 3 hours? Sometimes items that I think are very shortly handled are not. So this is the plenary meeting where we can handle that. Then on, oh, sorry, I think I did a mistake here. Yeah, sorry, the plenary is only 2 hours on Friday. And then in the second part on Friday, we look once more at VIDES and discuss the potential changes, updates that are needed to the specification, clarifications, and so on. And then for Monday, we have planned to look into what has done as homework again on 1117, hopefully maybe closing that work and releasing it for approval by all of you. And thank you for your contribution to that already now. Actually, on Tuesday, we already have a plan as well. So you can see we have a lot of things planned in working group 3, and that is we would like to start a bit of work on the VDE integrity monitoring, where we have already received a draft recommendation from China. And we could say this is part of VDES work, of AIS work, which is more or less ongoing in our group, and we cannot close eyes for this. It's a very important thing for many administrations. Problems with spoofing of AIS and so on. So that's the day where you need to join if you think that is relevant for you, another 2 hours. And then we need to see if we need more meetings. Thank you, Hideki.
Thank you, Stefan. Also very heavy schedule. Okay, thank you very much. So our working group work is introduced. Then I think it's almost time is closing. But before closing, Thomas, you want to introduce Maritime Connectivity Platform seminar for just 1 or 2 minutes, please, Thomas? Thomas is not here. Okay.
Hello,
Thomas. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please.
Yeah. Sorry.
Just short minutes.
I actually expected that Axel might have done that, but so I was a little bit unprepared there. But give me 1 second. So.
Yeah, you were not on the agenda, so therefore I make a reference already here, but of course you are welcome.
Okay, so it's just to let you know, screen, there we go. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, right. So just a bit of a commercial here that there will be an MCP seminar. It will be held in the Ayala headquarter, September 24th, which will be a Saturday. What better way to spend a Saturday in Paris than an MCP seminar? But this is selected because it will be between the Ayala, I think it's the Ayala VTS and the ENAV committee. So anybody attending any of those committee meetings will easily be able to attend this seminar in the Ayala headquarter. There will be some something on MCP in general, of course, but the focus will be on identity management and security, which is the segment of the MCP which is the most matured. So this will be about the MCP, about providers of MCP as a solution, and different use cases from different organizations that are using the MCP. So September 24th in the Ayala headquarters. Thank you very much, Hideki.
Hideki, you are muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, almost time is now closing of this opening ceremony in 9 p.m. in Japan. And I know that you have another meeting, have to leave soon. And thank you very much for participating in the opening plenary of this session. And I hope to see you again in the closing plenary of this ENAV29. Thank you very much for coming, and see you again in each working group and also closing plenary. Bye-bye.
Hideki.
Yeah, please, Jaime.
Yes, if I may, I will.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
I will inform.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I will inform participants that 2 new inputs has been just recently posted in the Ayala website. The first one is the report of the workshop on Global Maritime Digital Route Testbed, and the second one is an input regarding Maritime Resource Registry, MRR. So it has been just posted during this opening plenary, and it's available for you with the numbering 5.2.12 and 5.2.13. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jaime. Thank you. I'm very sorry for this one, very late paper, but just information paper, so we can accept. So thank you very much, everybody, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.